I guess I don't remember where have we stopped with your class. Oh, this is the thing while we were about to start. I guess we just finished lymph. Am I right? Someone, please confirm.
Oh, we did circulation and neurology.
We did
Yeah,
this.
we did circulation. You're telling us
Heart.
about why the vascular, I think the pulmonary artery is special. That's what I remember.
Okay, so okay, then I guess we
We
have
done,
not.
we done the layers too. I think we were here only.
Ayo, how is this possible? Your
So
class?
we did this. So we did till endocardium. We have to start from the
We
chambers.
were doing the division in the heart.
Right. So I guess this is where we were to start. No, this also we have finished then at
Yeah.
ventricles, and we will actually start looking at these structures. If I'm, yeah, correct. Okay, so let me go back here. I will just briefly revise this part. So the heart composed of four chambers: left side, which is left heart; right side, which is right heart; upper side, upper both chambers, they are called as atria, and the lower chambers, they are called as ventricles. So depending on, there will be four chambers: left atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle. And we had seen that atria, they are relatively smaller compared to ventricles. They have thinner walls compared to ventricles. And the largest ventricle, that is the left ventricle. Right? Someone, I guess one of the student, I don't remember who is it, had asked me why is it other way around. Like we usually consider the screen's right and our right the same, right? But this is the actual depiction of the heart, right? If we change the sides of the heart here, like according to wherever it is written left, if we say that as right because that is our right for sure, then it will be difficult to identify which side the blood vessels go, from which side the lung vessels will come, and so on. So that way it is complicated, and that is why the same like it's not the mirror image as such, but it is the as it is, you just turn it left to right or right to left, either ways. That is what is visible in front of you. So your right is actually opposite of the heart which is being shown. I hope you must have noticed that part, but just making it in a little emphasized manner. Yeah. So just pay attention to this. Your right is not the screen's right or the diagram's right in this case. That is the exception. Otherwise, usually we have right side on the actual right of the yours. So just make a note of this particular fact, and that way like even if you visualize this diagram on your own, you will know which is left and which is right and all the other components. So just to show you here, this particular component, that is the upper chamber, one of the upper chamber, and it is on the right side. So because right and the upper chamber, so atrium. Similarly, we have left upper chamber, so that is left atrium, the right lower chamber, right ventricle, and the left lower chamber, left ventricle. If at any point you feel this is too complicated, please stop me and ask me to revise, because this is one of the important part. Yes, Nanda.
So, why is it that what we see on our left is called right?
Sorry, why?
Why is it ulta? Like a
Uh,
mirror.
So now if you have to match this heart with your heart, right? And if you put it as it is, like you know, take this diagram and just stick it. What, when you are sticking it, you will turn it like, you know, backside, you will,
180 degrees.
right? 180 degrees. So that way, then your right, which is shown in the diagram, will be actually your right.
But why not do it, turn it 180 degree over here?
Then the drawing part will be difficult, no? And also, whenever you are showing all the other organs and the blood vessels respectively, then this becomes little complicated stuff. right? Suppose if we are showing this heart in the human figure, right? Then if you actually show it the 180-degree turned image, and if you have to show the human figure, then again the human figure also you have to look. And whenever you look at a particular organ, you look it always from the front side, right? You don't look it from the rear view or back view of something, right? So that is why if you have to look at this front side, then it has to be turned that way. Okay. So these were
labeling we have to remember. The left is actually right.
yes, the labelings we need to remember, and that is why I have chosen a little minimalistic label. Though this diagram will look very complicated, but that is when I'm trying to simplify it through the description. Yes, Bhavya.
So just a second, this all is just for the sake of the diagram, right?
Sorry.
This all is just for the diagram. When you just label it, that's when you just put it left and right, ulta. That's it.
Means you are not putting anything ulta as such.
No, like our left, our right is its left, and its left is our right. So like
correct. So it
just to try and simplify, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
But the way I'm understanding it's basically ki it is with regards to left and right, it's a mirror image.
Yeah. But then when you look at the mirror, you are right, you see it on the right side of the mirror itself.
Well, a mirror, yeah, mirror image in that sense, not in the literal mirror.
Correct. So, but this is a little twisted that way. So again, those who are getting confused, just say it is opposite to what your actual direction is. Yeah. So there is no confusion there. So you are right, and the diagrams right will be actually on your left side. So that way it's just opposite, diagonally opposite. And I hope I'm not confusing others. I hope this whole part is clear. So these four chambers, right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. So these are the four chambers of the heart. And if you look at the walls, atria, they have thinner walls. Ventricles, they have thicker walls. Between right ventricle and left ventricle has the thickest wall. So out of all four chambers, left ventricle has thickest wall. Then right ventricle has little thick walls, and the atrias, both of them, they have thinner walls. The reason why they have thinner walls is because they are just receiving chambers. On contrary, the ventricles, they are pushing the blood away from the heart. So for that push, they need to be very strong, and that is why they have stronger or thicker walls. Now, apart from this, what you need to remember is where the blood is coming into the right atrium. And the blue thing that is showing, that means it is deoxygenated blood. That you remember. Here, all the blue, whether it's this vessel, blood vessel-like structure, or this compartment, that refers to deoxygenated blood. And whenever it is showed kind of orangish or reddish, that is your oxygenated. So even if you see here, this is carrying oxygenated blood. This particular portion will be carrying deoxygenated blood. And again, if you pay close attention to the arrows, now we will start with the mechanism. So that is, the blood is coming into the right atrium. Now right atrium is deoxygenated blood. Now can someone tell me where would the deoxygenated blood would come from to the right atrium? A logical question now. Where would it come from?
The body.
Correct, right? So body has utilized, body as it, the cell organelles or the tissues or the organ system, all of it. That is what it means by the body. So once they have utilized the oxygen, they are sending back the blood to the heart, which is deoxygenated, which is without oxygen. So that particular blood is coming to the atrium. Now again, if you look here, there is one which is coming here and the one which is coming from here, right? and it says vena cava from the upper body and the vena cava from the lower body, right? So that means upper portion of the body above the heart will be carried in one blood vessel, and it will be emptied or it will be brought into the right atrium. Similarly, another deoxygenated blood carrying blood vessel, that is vena cava, will be carrying the blood from the lower portion of the body, and it will bring to the right atrium. I hope you all are following this. Again, if at all there is any confusion, you will find so much of problem understanding later. So best is we clear it right here itself. So this particular part, because it is coming from upper body, it is called as superior vena cava. And this which is coming from lower body, it is called as inferior vena cava. So in short, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava will collect the deoxygenated blood and it will bring it to the right atrium. Now, from right atrium, you see the arrow is going down. So that means blood flows from atrium to the ventricle on the right side. So from right atrium, it will go to the right ventricle, and there is a wall like structure. You can see these two flaps. That is a wall, that is a gate like structure. We will talk about them after we finish this. But as of now, from right atrium, the deoxygenated blood comes into right ventricle. Now from right ventricle, where do you think it should go to? Again, maybe Mahi, what do you think? Where would it go?
From the
Right
right ventricle. The arrows show to the pulmonary arteries, but so the lungs, I guess.
For what will be the purpose going to lung?
For the exchange of like gases.
Correct. That is remove the oxygen which is brought from the body in exchange with the oxygen. So if you see from right ventricle, the blood is going with this arrow. Again, there is another wall like structure, which we will talk later, and it goes into this pulmonary artery. Now we have two lungs. So can one artery be sufficient? No. So that is when we will have left pulmonary artery and right pulmonary artery. Again, right side. So this one which is going at the back of these two veins is shown here. That will be right pulmonary artery, and this will be left pulmonary artery. So that way the blood will be separated into two branches. After it comes out from the right ventricle, it will go to left and right pulmonary artery. Then of course the exchange event happens. The carbon dioxide is given out, oxygen is taken into those alveolar capillaries, and then it will be brought back from the lungs to the left atrium. Now this is oxygenated blood. In the lung, oxygenation had happened, and now that blood is brought to the left atrium, where the blood will be brought through again two arteries. Again, from right lung it will come, from left lung it will come, right? I hope you are understanding this part as well. So that is why you have two outlets here, right? Both of them, they are bringing the blood from right lung as well as left lung, and that is called as right pulmonary vein and left pulmonary vein. Now, the trick here is, you remember that I had said we will discuss about the pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein specifically later. So here it is. From the right ventricle, the blood was going, which was deoxygenated to the lung. Now, deoxygenated blood, and this is called as artery. So that is the only exception with the human body. Being an artery, it is carrying the blood to the lungs, right? So, yes.
I just realized one thing, like it just came to me. I remember I was in seventh or eighth. Someone told me this is the upper vena cava from upper body. That's a superior vena cava or something.
Correct.
Yeah, and so And the vena cava, what is the vena cava though?
Vena cava is just a kind of Latin or Greek name. It ultimately means a
Oh.
vein,
Ah,
blood vessel, in short. Superior blood
I thought it
vessel.
was something else, but yeah, okay, fine.
No, it is just simply a blood vessel. Yeah, so
It's a
that
vein,
is,
right?
sorry,
It's a vein or it's a.
it's a vein,
Fine.
right? So all these which is shown in the blue, these are veins, and that is deoxygenated. Again, the exception is here. Yeah, these two names. That is the only exception, but rest everywhere in the body, that is always the same. Okay, so even this being carrying the deoxygenated blood, still it is called as pulmonary artery. Yeah, and that is the only exception. And same is the exception with the pulmonary vein. Though it is called as vein, it is carrying the oxygenated blood to the left atrium. So just these two exchanges of the words, you have to remember. Rest everything remains same. So here this vena cava, like Aditya said, it is of course a vein because it is carrying deoxygenated blood. This aorta, which will come back, come later, that is oxygenated blood, so it is an artery. So that way you have to distinguish. If it is carrying the oxygenated blood, it will always be artery, except the pulmonary vein. And if it is a vein, it will always carry deoxygenated blood, again, except pulmonary artery. So now from lung, the oxygenated blood is coming to the left atrium using the pulmonary vein, and that will be stored here. Stored as in for like a fraction of second, it will be collected together. Actually, there is a pulmonary trunk. Trunk is like a kind of common opening. So for left and right pulmonary veins, there will be common opening, and then from that common opening, it will go into the left atrium. But that you need not really draw in the diagram. So what we are saying is from pulmonary veins, the blood is brought into left atrium, which is oxygenated now. Now again, from left atrium, the blood will flow down into the left ventricle, which is the finally going to pump the blood into the body, like tissues or body cells again. And this happens via aorta, right? So this is the aorta that you can see. Here it is labeled, and it is little upward. Usually our assumption is whenever we have a kind of blood vessel going from the ventricle, it should be located at the down. Yeah, means if you have to do a schematic diagram, you can draw it, schematic representation. But when you are drawing a diagram of heart, that is not a schematic, that is actual positioning of the heart or actual positioning of all the structure. Then you have to draw it upward. So even the pulmonary artery is upward, and even the aorta that you see is also upward. Yes.
So in the right ventricle, there comes deoxygenated blood, right? And in the left ventricle, there's oxygenated blood, right?
Correct.
And from the right ventricle, the blood goes to the lungs. And from the left ventricle, it goes to the rest of the body? Or
Correct.
okay.
So from this aorta, the blood will go to different parts of the body. Now, I guess I have one diagram which will explain this particular part, where all it goes to. We will talk about it later. Now, just simply revise this whole process using this diagram. Yeah. Let's start again from here. We can also start from one here, which is shown, but because we have started here, let's start from there. So right atrium is the one which is receiving all the deoxygenated blood from all over the body part. That is with superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. That is from the upper part of the body using a vein, which is called vena cava, and lower part of the body, which is also called as inferior vena cava. That is again a vein carrying deoxygenated blood. So all the deoxygenated blood is here. It will flow down into right ventricle. Now, because it is deoxygenated, it has to go to lung with pulmonary artery. This is deoxygenated blood, but still it is flowing in the artery. That is the exception. It will be brought to lungs. the oxygen will be exchanged with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide will go out, oxygen will come in, will be carried with the hemoglobin. So it becomes oxygenated blood. And again, the other exception of carrying oxygenated blood, that is pulmonary vein, it will be brought to left atrium. So all the oxygenated blood from lung will come here. Again, from right lung and left lung, both of them will come here. They will join and then they will be poured into. Now here they have not shown right and left because this is schematic. So that way you have to understand. Even from here, the blood will go to right lung and then left lung. So there will be a kind of branch, let's say, and then from there it will go to right and left lung. So which will be again brought from right and left lung and will be poured together into the left atrium. From left atrium, it will flow down to left ventricle. From there, it will go to the different parts of the body through main artery, which is called as aorta, which is again carrying oxygenated blood. You can see body organs. And from body organs, it will again be brought back after utilization of oxygen into right atrium. So that is the whole cycle. Yeah? How does the blood flow? Now, anyone has any question? Now, just a simple trick that I had done it for myself. Like I used to close my eyes and try and imagine, like, let's say you ask me a question, okay, where does the blood flow from right ventricle? Then from right ventricle, that means it's on my left side. So that is the lowermost compartment. That means it should go to the lungs, right? And that should be deoxygenated blood. Or where is the blood going from left atrium? Then I know from atria, it will always flow into the ventricle. Or if the question is where is the blood coming into left atrium? So that is left atrium. That means it's oxygenated. That means it should come from the lung itself. So that way the thought clarity has to be there. So what is happening with what kind of blood and from where it is coming or where it is going, all of these questions should be sorted.
So
Yes.
the left atrium gets blood via the left ventricle.
No. Left
So like what does that diagram represent then? Like
left atrium gets the blood from here.
okay, so it gets the blood via the pulmonary vein.
Yes.
And then that blood is transferred into the left ventricle.
Correct.
Okay, now I got the diagram.
Yeah. So, and again, here there will be two branches which will bring the blood to left atrium, right pulmonary vein and left pulmonary vein. Yeah.
You have to remember that.
Yes. Okay. Anyone else has any other question here?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, why is the blood deoxygenated?
Why is the blood deoxygenated? Because the oxygen in the blood has been utilized completely. So that is why it becomes deoxygenated.
Okay.
Cells, every cell undergo the process of respiration. This respiration is not what you talk of inhalation and exhalation. This is cellular respiration. That means mitochondria will take that oxygen, it will convert it into the superoxide species. It will utilize that energy into what we call that electron transport chain, and it will generate the ATP. So that is, in short, the cellular respiration is the process of ATP generation, which is ultimately energy generation. So oxygen is utilized for ATP formation, and that is where that oxygen is completely consumed from the blood. Now, whatever are the byproducts of whole of the cellular metabolism, that is mainly carbon dioxide, and of course there are others, but that carbon dioxide is with exchange with the hemoglobin in place of oxygen, and hemoglobin will carry that carbon dioxide back to the lungs, or from heart and then back to the lungs. So that is the whole process.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any other question?
Oh yeah, sir. Just like you were telling us that all cells undergo respiration. So what about the cells of the lungs itself?
They do need oxygen, no? They also take that oxygen. See, lungs also have their own blood supply, correct? apart from this blood which is coming from heart, that they will have certain blood supply. Let's say, for example, this is aorta, or let me go back to that actual diagram. Yeah. So let's say this is the aorta. You can see 3 branches coming here, right? One branch will go up, one branch will go to the sides, one branch will go down, and so on. So that way, and one branch will go to the heart itself. So let's say that this is the branch which is going to the upper part of the body. So it will have a sub branch which will be going to the lungs, which is now this is oxygenated blood, right? If the blood would have gone from here, that is through this pulmonary vein, not pulmonary vein, through pulmonary artery, right? That means it will be deoxygenated blood. It is going inside the lung, right? And this blood will be going to the walls of the lung, that is the cells of the lungs. So there is a difference. It's like, you know, let's say I am a food transport person, right? I might take some food for myself,
Right.
right? And I will also transport it to others. So that's the analogy there.
Got that.
Okay. Any more questions? Again, anyone? Please, people, make this very clear, because later on there will be so much of confusion if this is not clear here. Okay, so then I assume that most of you are clear with whole of this like diagrammatic representation and the flow of the blood throughout the heart. Okay, so again, this is another diagram which just has additional walls. You can see here tricuspid wall, aortic wall, mitral wall, that we will see in the further slides. But rest of the all these structures, they are exactly same. Yeah, rest you will have right atrium, which is bringing the blood from superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. You can see these different branches, like inferior vena cava is coming up and the superior vena cava is coming here. They are being kind of merged just before the right atrium, and then from there the blood will come to the right atrium. Then it will go to the right ventricle. It will flow from this blue color vessel, which is pulmonary artery, to the left lung and the right lung. So you can see this branch here going to the right lung. This will go to the left lung. Lung will carry the exchange with the oxygen. It will be brought back into the pulmonary vein, into the this what we call as left atrium, right? From left atrium, it will again go to the left ventricle. From left ventricle, it will go into the aorta, and then to throughout the all body. So that is the same diagram being shown here. Just in addition, it has this valvular structure, which are the gateways to control the blood flow. It's again a simple mechanism. Though the names of these valves, they are little tricky to remember, and which one is where, that we need to remember. But otherwise, the function of valve has to be very clear. So that we will see here. So the valves, these are the flaps of the fibrous tissue. Flaps, everyone knows, I suppose. These are just like a layer of cells or tissues, which are located in the cardiac chambers between the veins. Now, not always between the veins. It is always between the chamber and blood vessel. You can say it that way. So these walls, they are actual flaps that are located at each end of 2 ventricles. So that means the lower chambers of the heart. So if you see, where is that diagram? So if you look, the left ventricle, sorry, right ventricle, and from here the blood is flowing through this blue vessel. That is your pulmonary artery. You can see there is one wall, or if this diagram looks complicated, even here you can see. From right ventricle, the blood is flowing into the pulmonary artery, and you can see there is a wall here. Similarly, if the blood is flowing from left ventricle into the aorta, you can see there is another wall here, right? This is the flow to aorta or through the aorta. So from the ventricle, when the blood is flowing out of the heart, whether into pulmonary artery, that is from right ventricle, or into aorta, that is from left ventricle, both of these places, it will have this valve-like structure, which is the gateway to control the blood flow. And the valves, they prevent the backward flow of the blood, and that way they only allow one way transport of the blood. So whatever is gone out in one particular direction, that does not come back. Imagine there is a pressure in the like again the similar phenomena you might have observed is like, let's say you have a tap and you have pipe attached to the tap, and you are pressing the pipe on the other end with the thumb. Due to this pressure built, the pipe from the tap just flows down, right? It doesn't remain anymore with the tap, but it just goes down. That is because of the built pressure. So if the same thing is happening in case of these valves also, what will happen is like there are chances that heart will have tremendous pressure and it will just collapse. So that is when the valves, they open up and close to maintain the blood pressure. So that is the function of the heart, and they are always unidirectional. So the flaps or these valves, they prevent the blood from flowing backward. And now based on this, there are two types of valves. And this is again a very simple and logical one. So the blood flows from atria to ventricle, that is from upper chamber to lower chamber. So there has to be one valve, correct? So again, if I go back to this diagram, blood flows from right atrium to right ventricle. So there is one valve here at the center, that is at the junction between atria and ventricle. And similarly on the left side, there will be between atria and the ventricle, there is another valve. So these are atrioventricular valves, that is between the atria and ventricle. Sorry. So these are the atrioventricular valves, which are between the ventricles and atria, and the valves between the right ventricle and right atrium, that is on the right side. It is tricuspid valve, which we'll see further, and the one on which left side is the mitral valve. So right side one is the tricuspid valve. Okay, it's here. So this is the tricuspid valve between right atrium to right ventricle, and this one on the left side is the mitral valve. Yeah. So the names, they have just been given to them for significant purpose so that they can be identified separately. But otherwise, this can be means in common language, this can be called as right atrioventricular valve. So between right atrium and right ventricle, there is a valve. So right atrioventricular valve, left atrioventricular valve. Right atrioventricular valve is specifically called tricuspid, and left atrioventricular valve is specifically called mitral valve. Okay, any question here again?
Could you repeat what you just said? The right left wall thing.
So I said there will always be the wall structure between the atrium and ventricle. So on the right side, between right atrium and right ventricle, there is a wall which can be called as right atrioventricular wall in common language, and specifically it is called as tricuspid. Similarly, on left side, between atria and ventricle, there is left atrioventricular wall, which is shown here, right? And that is specifically called as mitral wall.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else has any other question or having problem in understanding what is what, where is what structure, how is it coming into picture, where is it, I can't see? Any of these questions are also fine.
So
Yes.
in the one diagram you were showing before, yeah, so the pulmonary artery basically covers the left atrium, like you can't see the left atrium clearly in this diagram.
Not really, right? They don't cover it, it just present in front of it. But in diagram, you
That
can't.
covers it. It's in front of it, so it will cover it. No.
Yeah, but that is just the view is blocked. It is not covering it as such. If that is what you mean, yeah, yes, then we are speaking the same thing. Right? So let's say if like this is my left atrium and this finger is the pulmonary vein or pulmonary artery. Right? So that is why it will be crossing in front of it. It is not going with the left atrium. It is in front of. So when you look at it, you don't see a portion of left atrium. And that is what is being shown here. Did you get it, Meher?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought this was the diagram was wrong or something.
No. So because this is again a two-dimensional representation, you can't show it in these things.
Sorry, so it's a slightly unrelated question, but basically the heart's function is to pump the blood, right? Like the basest function. So in theory, you could have a mechanical heart, right? Like an artificial heart, mechanical, not the right word.
Correct. You can, but then even mechanical heart, like if you look at the machines, they usually get into some problem, either wear and tear or the loss of energy supply, that does not happen with the heart. So that is when we, at the start, we said that it is so robust and so strongest working muscle that it does not stop at all. But nowadays people are coming with not at such artificial heart, but certain cells like what we call as pacemakers, which we'll see when we talk of that SA node and so on, which are the kind of trigger for the electrical impulse. So that's where we will see these artificial pacemakers and stuff. Okay. Anyone else? Any other question? Okay, so that was the atrioventricular wall. I hope everyone is aware now where is the atrioventricular wall and what are their respective names. Now there is second type of wall within the heart that is called a semilunar wall. Now semi means half, lunar means moon, right? This everyone knows. So it is like half moon walls, and that is why they are called a semilunar wall. In shape, they are like half moon shaped, and they are located between left ventricle and the aorta and the pulmonary artery and the right ventricle. Now in short, if I go back to diagram, so there were walls between atria and ventricle. These were atrioventricular wall. Semilunar walls, these are between the ventricle and their respective outlet. Right, so for right ventricle, the blood is flowing into pulmonary artery. So this is one semilunar wall, and from left ventricle, the blood is going into aorta. So this is another semilunar wall. It's simple. So right side will have two walls, one between atria and ventricle, and the second between ventricle and the outlet, that is the pulmonary artery. Similarly, on left side, there will be two walls, that is between atrium and ventricle, that is atrioventricular wall or mitral wall. And the second one is between left ventricle and its outlet, that is the aorta. So these are the two semilunar walls present in your body. Again, any question here? I hope this part is clear, and then we will go to the actual names and so on. So if this part is clear to everyone, there shouldn't be any problem understanding the rest of the part. Atrioventricle, between atria and ventricle, semilunar, between ventricle and to their respective outlets. So that is semilunar. Okay, now the normal walls, they have three flaps. Three flaps are being shown here, right? Which is nothing but tricuspid. Cusp refers to this one portion is called as cusp. and that is tricuspid. While this one is also called as bicuspid because it has two cusps, that is two parts or two portions, tricuspid and bicuspid. You can find similarly too many names, but then you don't have to get confused with that. Yeah. So normally each wall, they have three flaps except the mitral valve. That is, the mitral valve is the only bicuspid valve which has two flaps. And the rest, all of them, they always have three flaps. So this is what you see in this diagram also. It has three flap, that is atrioventricular wall. Then this is between ventricle, that is right ventricle, to the pulmonary artery. It is pulmonary wall, which also has three cusps. Between left atria and left ventricle, we have mitral wall, that is bicuspid wall, and that is the only exception. And from left ventricle, the blood flows into aorta. So there is this aortic wall. So that is what is being said here, tricuspid wall, or what was earlier also shown here in this diagram. This one, this one, tricuspid wall. So that is located between the right atrium and right ventricle. Right side between atria and ventricle, that is your tricuspid wall. Pulmonary wall is between right ventricle to its outlet, that is pulmonary artery, taking the blood to the lung, which is deoxygenated, that is pulmonary wall. This one is also called as pulmonic wall, just a different terminology. So do not get confused if at all that name is mentioned in some of the questions or some textbooks or reference books. So pulmonic and pulmonary wall, they are same. Then mitral wall, that is located between the left atrium and the left ventricle, that is between the atria and ventricle. On the left side, that is bicuspid wall or mitral wall. And the aortic wall, now here the name itself says, between the left ventricle to its outlet, that is aorta, that is aortic wall. Okay. Again, any question here? Anyone in these four valvular structures? I understand maybe in the first go you will find it little tough to remember all these names, but if you practice the diagram enough in a like kind of visualization in your head, it will be very easy. These names will not be difficult at all. You just have to logically put what is what. Yes.
Why does the mitral valve has like only two, like not three, like the other one?
Miss, the logical reason that I know of is, let me show you here. No, let me show you here in this. Yeah. So usually when it is three or more cusps, it is a stronger valvular structure. So stronger in the sense there is better control. Now, the moment the blood has to fill into this bigger chamber, it has to flow in one go. One go in the sense, it has to go from left atria to left ventricle in a faster way. So that is why the valvular structure has to be little modified, which does not take so much energy and so much time compared to these three cusps. And that is why it is bicuspid. That is my logic. I might be wrong, but then. And I don't know the actual reason. That also I must say. But logically, this is what I feel. Okay. Anyone else wants to ask anything? Otherwise, we will just finish this small part. Where is it? This part, and then we will stop for today. So now as the heart muscles contract and relax, the valves opens and shut, right? So now simply again, this we are going into the detailed mechanism, how exactly happened. Last we looked at was only the blood flow. Now, but what happens to the atria and ventricle when the blood is coming in or going out? And what happens to the valves, that we need to see as well. This part I will surely revise in the next class, but then let me finish it here as well. So like as the heart muscles contract and relax, that is the atria and ventricle, they contract and relax. The walls, they also open and shut. That means they sometimes open depending on if they want to allow the blood to flow through, or they shut if they don't want to. They don't want to, as in if the cycle says so, letting the blood flow into the ventricles and atria at the alternate times. So in brief, when the atria, they are contracted, that means they were previously already filled with the blood. So the moment they are contracting, they are pushing the blood from that heart chambers, that is upper atrial chambers, into the lower chambers, that is ventricles. So atria contraction leads to the movement of the blood or flow of the blood into the ventricles. Now from ventricles, when they are relaxed, then only they can what we say, take the blood from the atria. So in short, if I go back diagram here, so let's say this compartment is contracting, right atrium. It will cause, at the same time, this will be relaxed ventricle, because when this is contracting, it will push the blood from atrium to ventricle. So ventricle has to be relaxed at that time. So that way, ventricle will be relaxed, atria will be contracted. The one which is relaxed, that is the ventricle, will be filled with the blood. The one which is contracted, that is right atrium, will be pushing the blood away from it. I hope this part is clear. And same happens on the left side also. Left atrium and right atrium, both of these, they contract simultaneously. And similarly, the right ventricle and left ventricle, they also contract simultaneously. So now let's say the blood has come and filled into the ventricles, that is the lower chambers. Now the ventricles will contract. They were relaxed, so they were filled with the blood. So the ventricles will contract. So they will push the blood into their further outlet, that is pulmonary artery. Now that time, this wall must be closed. This tricuspid wall, which is between right atrium and right ventricle, must be closed so that the blood doesn't go back. It must be pushed forward through this pulmonary artery. So the ventricles will contract. So the first wall will close, ventricles will contract, blood will be pushed forward. So that is what happens on the right side. Similarly, on left side, left atrium was filled, then this was relaxed. This atrium contracts, it will push the blood into left ventricle, and then when this left ventricle will contract, it will close this wall, which is mitral wall or bicuspid wall. It will close it. This left ventricle will contract, it will push the blood through aorta, and it will move further to different body parts. That's when this wall has to be open. Similarly, when this ventricle, right ventricle, is pushing the blood into this, this wall has to be open. So when left ventricle is contracting, at the same time, left atrium will be kind of relaxed, and it will receive the blood from pulmonary vein. Similarly, when right ventricle is contracting, the atria will relax, and it will receive the blood from vena cavas, that is superior and inferior vena. And that's what is the function of those walls and the respective chambers. And that is what is being explained in all, no, not here, here. Yeah. So which closes, what happens, and what opens up, all of this is being explained here. Next class, I will revise this mechanism, writing on the board stepwise, because that way you will get more and more clarity, what opens, what closes, and so on. Any questions so far? Let me stop here. If anyone has any questions, please ask.